Hello, and welcome to another episode of Real English, Real Life. Today, we're tackling a subject that I think just about everyone can relate to at some point or another: procrastination. We've all been there, putting off something important, knowing that we should be working on it, but somehow convincing ourselves that it can wait. Procrastination is something that can affect all areas of our lives, whether it's work, studies, or even personal projects we want to complete. The longer we delay, the more stressful it can become. In this episode, we're going to talk about how to overcome procrastination and develop strategies to help you get things done. If you're someone who struggles with putting things off, then this is the podcast for you. And as you listen, you'll be improving your English skills too, so you get the best of both worlds: valuable life advice and a great language lesson. So let's start by asking ourselves, what exactly is procrastination? Simply put, procrastination is the act of delaying or postponing tasks, often those that are important. You might find yourself doing this with something that feels overwhelming, difficult, or even boring. Instead of tackling the task head-on, you might find distractions like scrolling through social media, watching TV, or tidying up, anything to avoid the work that actually needs to get done. The funny thing is, most of the time, we know we're procrastinating, and we know it's not good for us. Yet, we still do it. Why is that? Well, procrastination often happens because of a few different factors. It can be linked to fear of failure, fear of not doing something perfectly, or even fear of starting something that feels too big to handle. It can also be related to a lack of motivation. When a task feels too daunting or unpleasant, we naturally want to avoid it. And, of course, there's always the lure of instant gratification. Scrolling through Instagram or watching a movie feels good in the moment, even though we know it's just delaying the inevitable. But here's the thing: procrastination doesn't make the task go away. In fact, it usually makes things worse. As we put things off, the tasks we need to complete often pile up, leading to more stress and anxiety. Plus, the more we delay, the less time we have to do the job well, which might lead to rushing and poor quality work. So, how can we break this cycle? Let's dive into some actionable steps to help you overcome procrastination and start getting things done. The first thing we need to do is recognize the why behind our procrastination. Why are we delaying the task? Is it because it feels overwhelming? Is it because we're afraid of making a mistake? Or is it simply because the task feels boring? Understanding the reason for your procrastination is the first step toward solving the problem. Once you've identified the reason, it's time to address it. If the task feels too big, try breaking it down into smaller, more manageable steps. One of the biggest causes of procrastination is the feeling that a task is too daunting. Let's say you need to write a report. Instead of thinking about the entire report, which can feel overwhelming, break it into smaller parts. First, you might outline the main points. Then, you can focus on writing just one section at a time. By breaking the task into smaller pieces, it becomes much easier to handle. Another useful strategy is called the 2-minute rule. This technique is great for overcoming that initial resistance to starting. The idea is simple: if a task will take less than 2 minutes to do it immediately. Often, starting is the hardest part. Once you get going, you'll find that it's easier to continue working on the task, even beyond those 2 minutes. It's a way of tricking your brain into action by telling yourself, "I'll just do this for 2 minutes." You'll be surprised how often you end up working for much longer. Next, let's talk about setting realistic goals and timelines. Procrastination often happens because we don't set clear goals for ourselves, or we give ourselves too much time to complete something. When the deadline feels too far away, it's easy to put things off because we think, "I'll have time later." But this can lead to last-minute panic when the deadline approaches. Instead, break your tasks down and set mini deadlines for each part. For example, if you have a project due in a week, set a goal to finish one section by Tuesday, another by Thursday, and so on. This helps to create a sense of urgency and keeps you on track. Another effective tool for managing procrastination is the Pomodoro Technique. This time management method involves working in focused intervals, typically 25 minutes, followed by a short break. After completing 4 Pomodoros, or 25-minute sessions, you take a longer break. The idea is that working in short bursts helps you stay focused and productive. It also makes the task feel less overwhelming because you know you'll have a break coming up soon. The Pomodoro Technique is particularly useful for tasks that require concentration, and it can be a great way to boost your productivity while reducing the urge to procrastinate. Let's also talk about distractions. In today's digital world, distractions are everywhere. Whether it's your phone, email notifications, or even background noise, it's easy to get sidetracked. One way to overcome this is to create a work environment that minimizes distractions. If you're working on your computer, try closing unnecessary tabs or turning off notifications. You might even consider using an app or browser extension that blocks distracting websites during your work time. Another great tip is to set specific times to check your phone or social media, rather than allowing them to interrupt your work whenever a notification pops up. Now, let's address the issue of perfectionism. Many of us procrastinate because we feel like we need to do everything perfectly. The fear of making mistakes or not meeting our own high standards can lead to inaction. But here's an important lesson: done is better than perfect. No one expects perfection all the time, and often, striving for perfection can actually hold us back from making progress. It's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay if something isn't perfect on the first try. What matters is that you get started and make progress. You can always improve and refine your work later. Another important aspect of overcoming procrastination is self-compassion. It's easy to get down on yourself when you procrastinate. You might feel guilty or frustrated that you're not being as productive as you'd like. But beating yourself up won't help. Instead, practice self-compassion. Acknowledge that procrastination is a common challenge that everyone faces at times. Be kind to yourself and focus on taking small steps to improve. Remember, progress is progress, no matter how slow it may seem. Let's not forget the importance of motivation. Sometimes, we procrastinate simply because we're not motivated to do the task at hand. One way to boost your motivation is to connect the task to your bigger goals or values. Ask yourself, why is this task important? For example, if you're procrastinating on studying for an exam, remind yourself that doing well on the exam will help you achieve your long-term goals, such as graduating or advancing your career. By linking the task to something that truly matters to you, you can increase your motivation to get it done. It's also helpful to reward yourself for completing tasks. When you finish a task, even a small one, take a moment to acknowledge your accomplishment and treat yourself to something you enjoy. This could be something as simple as taking a short break, enjoying a snack, or watching an episode of your favorite TV show. Positive reinforcement can help train your brain to associate productivity with rewards, making it more likely that you'll want to continue working toward your goals. One more tip to overcome procrastination is to surround yourself with productivity. If possible, spend time with people who are productive and motivated. Their habits and mindset can rub off on you, encouraging you to be more focused and driven. You can also create a positive work environment by listening to music that helps you concentrate, keeping your workspace tidy, and setting up a routine that puts you in a productive mindset. Lastly, it's important to remember that procrastination is not a character flaw, it's a habit. And like any habit, it can be changed with the right strategies and mindset. It's all about taking that first step, no matter how small, and building momentum from there. The more you practice overcoming procrastination, the easier it becomes. So, let's recap what we've discussed today. First, we talked about the reasons behind procrastination, including fear, lack of motivation, and the desire for instant gratification. Then, we explored several strategies for overcoming procrastination, such as breaking tasks into smaller steps, using the 2-minute rule, setting realistic goals, and practicing the Pomodoro Technique. We also discussed the importance of minimizing distractions, letting go of perfectionism, practicing self-compassion, and staying motivated by linking tasks to your bigger goals. By applying these strategies, you can begin to break the habit of procrastination and start getting things done. Remember, it's all about progress, not perfection. Take it one step at a time, and don't be too hard on yourself if you slip up. The key is to keep moving forward, even if the steps are small. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of Real English, Real Life. I hope you found these tips helpful and that you feel inspired to tackle your to-do list with confidence. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and share it with others who might also be struggling with procrastination. Together, we can build better habits and lead more productive lives. Until next time, keep learning, stay motivated, and remember, you've got this.